Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the instant match reaction. Aston Villa 3, Everton 2. It's happened again. Everton 2-0 up. Not quite cruising this time, were we? But we've been beaten 3-2 after being 2-0 up at Villa Park. I think the most predictable thing about today was that at 2-0, a lot of us probably thought, let's see what happens here, rather than getting carried away. I must admit, I didn't really celebrate the first goal, and the second goal, I was a bit like, okay. Just because of like what happened last time, and just because this is Everton, isn't it? This is Everton, and you know, we started the game quite slowly. Weren't really keeping hold of the ball, giving Villa a bit of space. But we got our goal. We, took the ball off Amadou Onana, Dwight McNeil, and then he carried it and put a decent finish into the corners, gives 1-0. Then a great set piece and a Dom header gives it 2-0. And you're thinking, right, can we just get on to like half time, keep it down? And then obviously they scored. I don't understand how Luca Dean could have that much space. And Michael Keane, I don't understand how he can be out-jumped by Ollie Watkins when he was like he, again, jumped too early and he was on his way down when Watkins was on his way up. And at 2-1, I mean, the miss by Dom was such a pivotal moment in the game. There's no way of hiding from that. He goes one-on-one. He tries to go round the goalkeeper, which he did. The Villa player got back and kicked it away. Dom's Achilles heel really is one-on-ones. Ironically, he scored a one-on-one at Villa Park last season to win the game. But that really was the big moment. 3-1. You just felt like that was the moment right there. Mike Cosgrove, thank you, Super Chatters. I could smell it. I think we could all smell it, mate. I think that moment, like if we go 3-1 there, that takes the sting out the game. I don't know whether it was onside or offside. It looked onside. And that was like the moment where they went, that's their chance. We retreated. And again, they score just a stupid goal. Harrison gets caught, knocks the ball inside, and Ollie Watkins gets a tap in to make it 2-2. And then the manager makes subs. I'm not going to start complaining about making subs, but I did find the subs, again, weird today. Like, why not make those subs at 2-1? You knew what was coming. He's made them a 2-2. He's put all the emphasis on them to allow to come and beat us, basically. And in a way, you'll probably, I don't know what he said after the game. I imagine he's probably said, they didn't trouble us and it took a screamer to beat us. And it did take a screamer to beat us. The problem is we didn't have anyone left in midfield because they were all playing on the other side of the ball, and that allowed them to get the space to shoot. If you let good players shoot, they will score. But it was a brilliant goal. And then we've seen Dominic Calvert-Lewin hit the bar himself. A good ball through. And he's got himself a little yard of space. He smashed in. It's come off the bar. And how's your luck in those moments? That's where it is, isn't it? That's where your luck is. Mr. H88 on the super chat says, F it, take the points deduction. If that's what it takes, and bring back Moyes, all is forgiven. We also need Dunk back to sort them out. Why would we get a points deduction for bringing Moyes back? But obviously, the media are going to make a field day with this, aren't they? What really disappointed me actually was there was 6 minutes added on, and we barely did anything with that time. That really annoyed me. And that's down to the players. That's not down to the manager. That's down to the players. We never did. We put one bad ball into the box. Lindstrom put a bad free kick into the box. Bar that, we didn't do anything. So no intensity in the last minutes. I mean, in terms of scoreline, obviously, it's probably better than what a lot of people thought. A lot of people thought we were going to get a proper hiding there today. But it's the manner, isn't it? Again, it's the manner. It's being 2-0 up. It's the psychology of the whole thing, being 2-0 up and Copeland's situation. And we couldn't do it. But 13 goals in 4 games is a disgrace, really, isn't it? Whether that's the manager, whether it's the players, that is a disgrace. For a man who's built his entire career on not conceding goals, and basically what we're saying is because there's no Branthwaite and because Michael Keane is in the team, that means that we're just porous. And the right back situation, I mean, that sort of come to head today, didn't it? Our backup left back is starting right back, so when our left back goes injured, he has to go over, and James Garner, who probably should have started maybe at right back, even though I don't think he did too well when he came on, is in that position. But I think what annoyed me was today is almost like what we showed against Bournemouth was we can make opportunities, we can make chances. I thought Dom had a really good game today, and he's got his goal, and I know he's missed the chance, and I appreciate that. I thought he had a really good game, and I thought we played a lot of really good, clever balls. Instead of just launching them over the top, we were trying to slide them in, trying to get him one-on-one with the centre-back. I thought he did really, really well one-on-one with the centre-back. Sadly, he just didn't do one-on-one with the goalie. And I think there's optimism there. I just don't think this manager will ever get the best out of these players because he's a negative manager. Now, if that means, for some people, that'll mean sacking them. For other people, it won't. I just know that next week is huge, isn't it? Next week is absolutely huge. Leicester City, who failed to win today, equalised in the last minute. That game is now huge for both clubs. And if Everton was to get beat next week, then I don't know how you survive. That's not me calling for the manager to be sacked. I just don't know how you survive 5 defeats in a row at the beginning of the season. I just don't know. It's a huge game. It's a huge, huge game, as I said, because they didn't get it. Adam on the Super Chat, thank you. He says, Moyes. Moyes would be the obvious candidate. If you're willing, if anyone was to say, who would you bring in? He's been sacked. Moyes would be the obvious candidate. You wouldn't have to change much, really. But Leicester's now huge. It really is. I know we've got Southampton Tuesday, but that means nothing. That means nothing in my eyes, really. And I imagine it probably won't mean that much to Southampton, who were beaten today as well. Funny enough, Southampton had been beaten 4 times today before we had, and still weren't bottom of the table. It's I just don't see the. I just overly don't see the point of Sean Dyche if you're conceding the goals we're conceding. His mantra really was, or always has been since he's been at Everton, is take the lead and that's it. 1-0 wins. How many 1-0 wins have we had since he was here? Like last season and the season before. Well, it was built. The whole thing's been built on 1-0 wins. And in the last 2 weeks, we've been 2-0 up and lost. He's a negative manager. Just everything about him's negative. I just don't think he can get a tune out of. I think at times these players have showed that they're better than he's allowing them to be. I think being 2-0 up shows you that. And I think there was moments late on. But how can you go after a game when your manager is basically just not letting you? It's ridiculous. It's because he doesn't have any attacking ideas. He's another one of these managers, He's another one of these managers who sits there and says, if I had the money, if I had this, if I had that, oh, I'd be better. And it's like, you'll never have those things because you've not shown. You know, you get these managers at the moment. Look at all the teams in the Premier League. Everyone's trying to play attacking football. Now, for some clubs, that ends up stupid. I watched a bit of Southampton today, and for the first 20-odd minutes, they probably should have been winning, and then they went 1-0 down, and then it was like, it just fell to bits because they keep on trying to do what they're doing. But you've got to have a go, haven't you? You've got to have a go. And I know that sounds weird because we were 2-0 up. But you've got to have a go when things aren't going right for you. You've got to be able to get behind the team and not just say, oh, we're going to try and sit here. I mean, everyone knew the minute it went 2-1. Everyone basically knew we were going to get beat. We could all smell it. Everybody knew we were going to get beat. And we haven't really helped ourselves try and get away from that. And we haven't tried to stretch the game. We've just sat in the shape. I thought we needed an extra man in midfield. I thought Tim Erebunam was getting overrun again. He doesn't follow his runners. The same happened at Spurs. He's good at when he's at home, but away from home, when the pressure's on, I'm not sure about the lad just yet. I think in a 3, I think him being almost like in the Corey role, I think you'll get more out of him. McNeil doesn't do anything defensively for you, so you shift him back over to where I would have put him where Harrison was. Harrison was again nothing today. Didn't do anything. Maybe he's not allowed to do anything. Maybe he should be playing on the left. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Ndai did too much today. Really. A couple of nice little runs, but not much. But I just don't think he gives us a chance when everybody else in this league is attacking and is playing on the front foot and is having a go. You know, Villa being 2-0 down woke them up today, if anything. It's weird because I'm not as disappointed. I mean, I'm disappointed clearly, but I'm not as disappointed as I was against Bournemouth because I think we all saw it coming. So it's not like I felt like you could see that it was coming at the minute they scored. So I'm not sitting here like after this Bournemouth game, I was absolutely, you know, it was a disgrace. But you could see it 2-1, and then you're just like, well, let's sit back and see what happens. And to be fair, it did take an absolute worldie. It's a big couple of weeks, as I said. It's a big couple of weeks. 4 defeats, which I believe is it the first time since the 50s that's happened. 4 defeats, 13 goals. These can't be excused. I mean, even the biggest of Sean Dyche fans can't excuse that. 13 goals on a team that is supposed to be based on, or you know, we stayed up or we won games or whatever last season on our clean sheet. That can't just be, well, we'll be all right when Branthwaite comes back. What if Branthwaite takes a little bit of time because of the injury and because he's being out to get up to speed? Can't have that situation. We can't have a situation like that. And I just don't think the manager knows what he's doing at times. He's gone 3 at the back or 5 at the back, and then he's changed it to a back 4. I mean, so you've gone 3 at the back when it's 2-2, and then when we need a goal, because we're 3-2 down, you've changed it. Why not just keep 4 at the back when it's 2-2 and go, the way we're going to stop you is try and score a goal? I just think it's so limiting. I think the way he plays is so limiting. And I think the idea of we're going to be defensively okay this season, it just doesn't. I know Michael Keane's record is abysmal. But that's another thing, isn't it? You've conceded 10 in your first 3, and he keeps Michael Keane in. I mean, fans are just pissed off. They're just pissed off with the whole thing. They're pissed off with him. Pissed off with what he says. There'll be more rallying cries tonight and tomorrow. Oh, we did well. Look, we were all right. Oh, just the crossbar, or we did this and we did that. It doesn't ring true. I think they said it's the first time in the Premier League anyone has ever been 2-0 up and lost 3-2 in back-to-back games. Or it's another Everton first. Is it? Jamie saying conceded a quarter of the goals from last season already. I mean, that's a damning stat, That's a damning stat. That really is poor. It's really, really poor, that. It's embarrassing, isn't it, as well? It's embarrassing. It's just the whole thing's embarrassing. Been saying it for weeks. We're the butt of everyone's jokes. And it'll be even worse now, having lost another game, being 2-0 up. It's very worrying. It is very worrying, because I know it's only 4 games in, but next week it could be 5 games in. And I know, listen, it's not like teams are getting away from us. I appreciate that. Palace have got a couple of points. Ipswich have got a couple of points. Southampton haven't got any points. But it's where you're going, isn't it? It's the direction you're going. It's the direction you're going in. Every year, it's the same. Every year, we're not progressing. We're not moving forward. It's the same old, same old. That's 5 defeats in a row, by the way, for Sean Dyche in the Premier League. 5 defeats. 5 wins still since December last year. I mean, as I said, I've seen the people. I can't defend Dyche. It doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and say, I want him sacked and immediately and all this, because I understand the limitations of the problems at the club and who would sack him and the financial burden of sacking him and all that kind of thing. It can't be easy. But again, listening to the commentary for the game there, they were saying, like, Everton have set up like Aston Villa are like Man City, basically. That's what they said. They said they're sitting in like the Man City, like they're going to get a hiding. It's like, and it was absolutely right. There was an opportunity there. What annoyed me is at the end, 3-2 up, and it was like, this game's won. This game has been won. Villa have won this game. It's like, there's still 6 or 7 minutes left. Why aren't we going? Why aren't we throwing the kitchen sink, Harry? Why aren't we throwing everything at them? Like Bournemouth did to us. It's just, as I said, I just think that the players today have to massively look at themselves, in terms of just certain situations, and I just think that there has to be some accountability. There has to be some accountability from the manager, because whether people like it or not, right, the manager was brought in to do a job, right? He was brought in to do a job, and he understands the limitation. If there's limitations, he understands the limitations. But we can't sit here and go, it's not Dyche's fault we haven't got any money, or it's not Dyche's fault we've not bought a right back or a left back. He's the manager. It's his job to get as much out of the team as possible. And that's all that matters. That's nonsense. The buck has to stop somewhere. It has to stop somewhere. And if this continues, it will stop with the manager, because he's the only person. He's the only person who can stop this. The manager. He's the only person who can turn it round. He's the person who makes subs. He's the person who coaches them and trains them all week, or has the decision on that. He picks the team. He makes the subs. as I said, I've seen a team in the last 2 games in moments today, moments, not 2 games in moments today, moments, not loads, but moments. And against Bournemouth, well, I think actually there's a team in there. I don't think this manager can get that out. And if he goes back to the default, which is defensively, it's going to take another experienced manager at this moment. It's not time to panic and bring in someone young or I've said that for ages. I've always said that. It's not. They'd be walking into something that they couldn't handle. So it is what it is. It is what it is. 4 wins without a win. 4 defeats. Never mind, 4 without a win. We haven't picked up a point. And yeah. Ultimately, they'll make a decision. They won't make a decision today. They won't make a decision this week. But you have to start thinking about making the decision. Because if you're not, then what? So anything could happen. So if we go 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, 8 games, is he still unsackable for some people? Is it still all right? Is he still the best person Everton can get? I don't know. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll be back to do my player ratings video in a little bit. And Baz will be doing his videos as well. But listen, if what's going on at the moment at Everton is good enough for you, then sound. It's not good enough for me. It ain't good enough for me. At all. It's just not good enough for me. So, but if it's good enough for you, then sound. We'll continue to just sit at the bottom of the table and blame everything else and blame everybody else. But it's not good enough for me. So we'll see what happens. That's it. Make sure to check out my player ratings. And as I said, Baz's videos in a little bit. See you all in a bit.